How livestock guardian dogs actually protect a goat farm. Most people think protecting a goat farm means stopping something bad from happening. But by the time something bad is visible, protection has already failed. Livestock guardian dogs don't work at the moment of danger. They work long before that. And that's why, when protection is working, everything usually looks boring. When people picture protection, they picture reaction, noise, movement, chasing. But real protection is quieter than that. It's not about responding fast. It's about making sure there's nothing to respond to. Guardian dogs don't win fights. They remove opportunities. People misunderstand LGDs because they judge them like pets. Pets are trained to engage with people. Working dogs are trained to disengage from problems. So when an LGD doesn't check in, doesn't react, doesn't move much, people assume it's doing nothing. In reality, it's doing the most important part of the job. Predators don't rush in. They test. They observe patterns. They look for gaps. They wait for confirmation. Most attacks don't start with an attack. They start with probing. LGDs are designed to shut down that stage. The first layer of protection is presence, not chasing, not barking nonstop, just being there. A steady, consistent presence changes how predators evaluate risk. A space that is already occupied is less attractive than an empty one. This is why LGDs don't hover over goats, at least not good ones. They position themselves in the environment. Predators rely on information, noise patterns, movement habits, predictable responses. LGDs break that. A calm dog that doesn't overreact doesn't give away patterns. Silence doesn't mean weakness. Silence denies confirmation. And without confirmation, predators rarely escalate. People often praise barking as well. They think noise equals deterrence, but noise can also mean location, routine, and predictability. A dog that barks at everything teaches predators exactly where it's at. A dog that stays quiet until it matters keeps uncertainty high. Uncertainty is protection. LGDs don't protect goats one by one. They protect the space. When space feels occupied, livestock inside that space stay safer. This is why LGDs often look detached. They're not guarding individuals. They're managing territory. Goats push space. They crowd. They lean. That behavior isn't a threat. An LGD understands that. So it doesn't correct what doesn't matter. Restraint keeps relationships stable. A stable relationship reduces the stress in the herd. People expect work to look busy, but busy dogs often mean unresolved pressure, constant correction, ongoing instability. Calm dogs usually mean problems already solved, nothing escalating, no loose ends. The goal isn't activity. The goal is nothing changing. LGDs aren't supposed to check in constantly. That's a pet expectation. A dog that checks in too often is focused inward, not outward. Guardian dogs should be environment focused. Independence is not disobedience. It's required for the job. People often praise loud dogs, reactive dogs, visibly aggressive dogs, but those dogs often escalate situations that didn't need escalation. The dogs that prevent problems rarely look impressive. They look finished. If you only judge protection by what you can see on camera, you'll miss most of the work. The real work happens in pressure changes, testing that never continues, situations that never repeat. You don't film what doesn't happen, but that's where real protection lives. If your goat farm feels quiet, predictable, and uneventful, that's usually not luck. That's the system working. LGDs don't exist to create moments. They exist to remove them. Protection isn't about stopping attacks. It's about making attacks stop being an option. When livestock guardian dogs are doing their job well, there's often nothing exciting to show, and that's exactly the point. Goats move constantly. They adjust position. They test footing. They step into space without intention. To a predator, movement means opportunity. To a guardian dog, goat movement is background noise. This is why LGDs don't react to every shift in a herd. Reacting to goats would train the dog to waste attention on the wrong signals. Good guardian dogs learn very early to separate livestock motion from real pressure. That skill keeps them calm when it matters. Goats are prey animals. They relax when the environment feels stable. A dog that corrects constantly keeps the herd on edge. A dog that stays consistent allows goats to settle. Settled goats don't bunch, they don't panic, they don't create chaos. And chaos is what attracts attention from outside the fence. Calm goats make a calm environment. LGDs help create that by staying steady. People expect goats and dogs to have clear dominance interactions, but in working environments, they usually don't. That's because the dog is not competing. The dog isn't ranking itself. It isn't managing hierarchy. It's managing outcomes. When goats step close and nothing happens, that's not tolerance, that's clarity. The dog knows the goats are not part of the threat picture. Young guardian dogs learn restraint by living with goats. Goats ignore bluff. They ignore noise. They ignore unnecessary pressure. A dog that overreacts gets nothing in return. So over time, the dog learns that calm presence is more effective than force. That lesson carries over to how the dog handles real threats later. Restraint is trained indirectly. If goats feel unsafe, you'll feel it. You'll see it. They cluster tightly. They pace. They avoid edges. If goats move freely, spread out, and rest normally, that tells you something. It means the environment feels controlled. Even when nothing is happening, goat behavior gives you clues about whether protection is working. Calm goats are not by accident, they're a result. So when you watch goats move through their day without bunching, without panic, without hesitation, that's not random. That tells you the environment feels settled. Guardian dogs don't just protect animals from threats, they protect the rhythm of the farm. When that rhythm stays steady, nothing needs to be corrected, nothing needs to be chased, and nothing needs to escalate. That's why the best protection often feels invisible.